back to another episode of OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. We are unscripted, unfiltered, raw and organic conversations. Why? Because life is easier like that. Today I have the pleasure of the company of a brilliant and promising young man who I've known for many, many years. He used to be Orator Academy student and now he's out there in the world exploring crazy things, new things, and doing great. And I really wanted to hear what he's up to. So Devin, welcome to OATS UNCUT.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sparing some time out for us because it's been a while since I last saw you.
Yeah, about 3 years ago probably.
About 3 years? And
Yeah.
you've grown so tall.
I mean, it's been a while though.
Yeah, Devin was not as tall as he is now. I think you're as tall as I am.
Yeah.
5'7", you said.
Yeah.
Well, in my good days, I used to be 5'7.5", so you still have some catching up to do. But right now, I may have shrunk a little and I may be at 5'7" myself. But so you are in 8th grade. No, you're a freshman in
9th grade.
You're in 9th grade, which is freshman in high school. When I used to work with you, you were in elementary school.
Yeah.
Now, what is most fascinating about your journey, Devin, from my perspective, is the fact that you are, first of all, oldest of 4,
Yeah.
right? You are 3 brothers. I've worked with the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
And then you have a sister who's the youngest, who I still have to meet, Ariana. So first of all, how is it to be the oldest one? Do you think it is a lot of sense of responsibility, or do you think it's easier or tougher?
I guess it's just I get to do a lot of things first, and it's fun doing that way. I get all the new things and things like of that nature. But it's also a lot of responsibility that most people just don't even see from the outside, in the sense that even if you don't purposely do something, they look up to every single thing I do. So if I'm doing something wrong or I'm doing something stupid, like
He did it.
yeah, Nathan will follow me or Adrian will follow me, and then I'll get all the blame for it because my dad says, "Oh, they're just looking up to you. They're just gonna copy you."
Yeah, and you're the older one. You should know better.
Yeah.
I think it's probably rough in many situations to be the older one because you have 3 younger ones. And I've spoken to some other older siblings who have said it's hard because I just have to be the best behaved at all times. Just because they will point a finger and say, but he did it, so I am doing so. Also the fact that you, for example, simple things like you got your first cell phone at a certain age.
Yeah.
When did you get the cell phone first time?
Summer before 7th grade.
So summer before 7th grade. When did Adrian get his?
He just got his phone 2 weeks ago.
So he's also in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And so Nathan doesn't have one. And
No.
So that's great. The family has maintained that 7th grade timeline. But in many cases, the younger one will demand a cell phone earlier in time just because the older one has had it for 2 years. They don't realize that the older one waited till a certain grade level.
Yeah, and I'll just say another thing, especially with things like movies. When I was younger, my parents wouldn't let me watch even PG-13 movies then until I was probably 11 or 12. And now Ari's been watching them since she was 6 or 7. So,
Wow. Yeah. And so their parents are a little more relaxed and lenient with the
yeah.
younger ones. Interesting. The thing is that with the firstborn, the parents are also figuring it out.
Yeah.
They've never been parents before. So you really taught them to be parents. So
Yeah.
thank you for your patience. All right. So you used to be my student. Have you learned anything from me?
Yeah, I definitely have.
Say good stuff, I'm going to cut it out. No, I'm not going to cut it out. And I haven't paid him anything, so I am actually not sure what's going to come out.
So what I'll say is I started doing this in 4th and 5th grade, and since then I've never really looked back, in the sense that I can just talk to people in a lot more free way. I used to be, I guess before I went to her, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved, and I just didn't really know what was coming out of my mouth every single time I was going to say it. But when I went to her, I became a better public speaker, I became a better communicator, and I guess I just learned how to talk to people in just a way better way than I would before.
Comfortably being in your own skin.
Yeah.
Because I never ever taught you to be anybody else but you.
Yeah.
But my moment of glory in terms of you being my student was when I was running for elections in 2020. This is 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was running for elections, local elections, and I told you we were doing classes on Zoom because it was 2020.
Yeah, 'cause it's COVID.
And I said to you, Devin, tell your parents to vote for me. And I said to you that, Devin, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. I don't know what to do. I've taken this on and I don't know how it'll pan out. And you looked at me across the screen and said, Miss Vineeta, you got this, you got this, you got this. So to get that boost of confidence from a student was so heartening. So that was one. The second thing that made me feel so good about being your coach was the next class, a week later, again on Zoom. You sit like this across the screen and you say, Miss Vineeta, I spoke to my parents about your candidacy, but I have a few questions. I need to know a few answers before I convince them to vote for you. I absolutely loved that. You know why? Because I felt that you had found your voice. That was my ultimate goal. You had found your voice and you were not just doing things because you were being told to do a certain way.
Yeah.
You were questioning, and that was a very smart questioning. I felt so happy and excited that day. That's what I want to see in my students. I want them to be confident advocates for themselves and for others if possibly they can.
Yeah.
So you really made me very proud by questioning me on my credibility. And why should I be upset about it? Because that's a very valid question.
Yeah.
Why should somebody vote for me just because they know me? But the outcome was great. I won.
I knew you would.
So another fascinating thing about your family is that your father went for private school education all through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all the way till 12.
All the way through 12th. And you were also in private school education till about 5th grade.
Yeah.
And then you moved to public school system.
For 6th grade.
For 6th grade. First of all, how was that shift? Did it leave you unsettled or was
Not
it easy?
in the sense that it was unsettled. It was just very easy. 6th grade especially. I felt like I wasn't really learning that much. But I made a lot of friends that year, so that was good.
So socially it was good.
Yeah.
But academically it was not as challenging as private school?
Yeah.
So what does a 11-year-old do? Love it. Less work.
Yeah.
Easy.
I wasn't complaining about less work back then.
Exactly. And social life was getting better, so
Yeah.
that's great. Okay. And then you moved on to online school. Tell me about that.
So in 6th grade, I'll start with the story here. I'd been doing these classes online called synthesis classes.
What classes?
Synthesis.
Synthesis, okay.
It's something made by the people that run the ASTRONOVA school, the online school I went to. It's basically collaborative games. They're kind of like video games, but they have conundrums and they're really problem-solving based. They get kids from like everywhere just to work together towards like a common goal and something like that. And from doing that, my teacher, who was friends with, I guess, the person that ran the entire thing, told me that they also have an online school called ASTRONOVA School. So I looked into it. I saw the Elon Musk name. I saw so many good things and cool things attached to it, and I was just immediately intrigued. So I applied for that, and I got in, and then I decided to just go for it.
So you found the school, not your parents?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. This generation is definitely far more enterprising than I remember myself at that age. You guys are really cool. So you found the school and you proposed this to your parents, and they liked the idea?
Well, my dad liked the idea, especially because he thought I would learn things that I wasn't going to learn in a normal school. But my mom, I guess she still is and will always be, is always hesitant about like just the online nature of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that affected the social engagement angle? Because how do you socially grow with an online school?
For me, I think it was fine. I mean, in the mornings, I guess I got to sleep in. That was a plus. And then I would play club soccer, so I would still see people 5 days, actually, 4 to 5 days a week, depending on how many games I had, how many practices I had.
You said mornings you got to sleep in. Tell our audience, how was that happening? Why were you sleeping in the morning?
So the school is run from LA, so instead of me starting in a normal morning like I do in Livingston, where I get up at 7 in the morning, I have school at 7:50, the school actually didn't start till 11:45, and then it would go till 6. So at 11:45, we'd have a 15-minute morning meeting where the entire school would join one meeting, and then the teacher, we would just have a discussion about something. Or like a kid would do a synopsis presentation where they'd like present about like a specific topic they were interested in. And then after that, we'd have a class from 12 to 1, a 30-minute break, a class from 1:30 to 2:30, a 1-hour lunch break, 3:30 to 4:30, a 30-minute break, and then 5 to 6.
So that 11:45 start was because that was New Jersey time.
Yeah.
In California time, it was starting at 8:45.
Yeah.
Which is also a very late start for a
most
school.
schools start like an hour earlier than that, yeah.
Schools started an hour earlier than that.
Yeah, most schools do.
Most schools, yes, exactly. So 8:45 is not too late, but it is later than normal school hours, school time. So for you, it was great because it was 11:45. But so it was ending also late for you then, 6 o'clock you said.
Yeah.
But that wasn't hindering with your soccer schedule or after school activities that you had signed up for?
No, because the club I signed up for, they rented the fields from New York Academy, and New York Academy sports would always go till 5 o'clock. So my practice at the earliest would only start at 6:30.
Perfect. That worked out well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, but you're not in that school anymore.
No.
What happened?
So the school is only 6th to 8th grade. So after 8th grade, I basically had to go to Livingston or find a different school.
So you came back to the public school system.
Yeah.
And so this is your first year back.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the level, now that you've tasted 3 different versions of school education? One was private school in person here to begin with, then public school for a couple of years, then online school for a couple of years, and now back to the public school system. Which has been the most enriching experience for you? And which one do you think is probably better in terms of worth and value?
I would say especially now that private school, especially at the price point it's at, is just not worth it in the how much difference you're going to get. Like Pingree right now, all in cost, is going to be like $50,000 a year. That's the same price as going to college. So I would think you can go to public school, especially like a school like Livingston, where the academics, especially in the high school, are great. And they have honors level classes, AP level classes, things where you can just challenge yourself. I think if you're going to do that, and then maybe you want to take like some extracurriculars outside of school and pay for those, it's going to be way better value than going to something like Pingree.
So you don't really lose anything.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in a good school system, good public school system.
Yeah.
So far so good then? Livingston is serving you well?
Yeah. It's challenging, especially like the honors class, things like that.
So there's no difference at all?
I would say I highlighted one difference, which would be the writing between private school. I felt at Pingree, the writing department and the way we learned to write was a lot better. And then especially when I went to ASTRONOVA, I had the pleasure of working with one of the teachers there, which was an author named Lauren Kate. And she's sold like millions of books and things like that, and has TV shows being made about her books. And she taught there, I guess, because she liked teaching kids. So that was just one of the benefits of going there and getting to learn from like someone that was really an author and had really made it writing.
So so writing skills were good.
Yeah.
In that online school as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. So, but it's not, the difference is not worth the money that you would shell out if you were in a private school system. So that's very interesting, because a lot of parents actually go through this dilemma, especially in middle school and high school, that should they try and put their child in a private school system? Will that give the child better options and better exposures and in terms of academics and extracurricular? But this is good to know. So what else are you pursuing outside of academics?
I played in the soccer team in the fall, but I haven't really joined back club soccer. I'm doing a lot of classes on my own, like coding classes, things of that nature, and I'm really just focused on like computer science, learning things like that right now. Like I've been doing Coursera and things like that.
You're doing that on your own?
Yeah.
That's pretty brilliant. Yeah, that's great. So you also mentioned before we started recording that you are considering going back to an online school?
No, I said Nathan is going to an online
Nathan
school.
is going. You're the youngest one.
The second youngest, my youngest brother.
The youngest boy in the family.
Yeah.
He's going to go to online school.
Yeah.
Okay, but not not Adrian, not the one right after you.
No. He went for 5th and 6th ASTRONOVA because ASTRONOVA actually used to start in 5th grade to 8th grade. Now it's just 6th to 8th. And now he just goes to Heritage.
To the middle school in town?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was not happy with the online school?
He wasn't not happy with it. He was learning a lot. He just didn't handle the social element as well as I did, just due to the fact that there weren't as many kids his age in that school, especially the first year when he was in 5th grade, because there was not that many 5th graders just that even joined the school in general.
Okay, so he missed the social angle. I'm actually happy to hear that, because I think we should not lose the human touch.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that. So he's back in the public school system and he plans to stay.
Yeah.
But Nathan has not tried the online system yet.
Yeah.
So this will be his first brush with it.
Yeah.
But will he go to the same school that you all went to?
No, he's not going to the ASTRONOVA school that we went to. He's going to, or thinking about going to, the Khan Academy World School, which is the school that Khan Academy started.
And is that also a paid school, or is it a free school? Because Khan Academy has been it's been free online, right? The YouTube version.
Yeah, I don't think it was paid from what I remember, but I don't know for sure.
It's interesting, fascinating how different versions of schooling have come about.
Yeah.
And people are exploring. People like me are still very old-fashioned, so I can't wrap my head around the online versions of it, because I think it's important to go to school and be in that environment. But who knows? Because with all kinds of bullying situations happening in person and virtual, it's very hard to know which is better.
Yeah, and I'll say that I just don't think people even thought about online school until they actually experiencing COVID. And now people are actually starting to see that maybe that's an option for them. Maybe for a few years they could do something like that. But I still fear there's like a stigma in online schools just with the social element and people just seeing they're just not going to see people. And that affected a lot of people just during COVID in general too.
I think it's more than a stigma, it's a hesitation. But if COVID taught us something, it is that we should be able to go with whatever option we have.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be that resistant, because literally the virtual option carried us through.
Yeah.
Schools went virtual. Otherwise, what would happen? Children would lose a school year.
Yeah.
So the same hesitation that goes with everything new that happens to us, right? And the latest buzz of hesitation is with AI.
Yeah.
You know that. So now that it's come to my mind, what do you think about AI? Do you think it's some people are not taking it very well. Some people find it very intrusive and overpowering, and some people find it fun to work with?
I'll say that AI is like a tool. It's like your assistant to help you get through things. And I feel the people that are holding themselves back from AI, it's here, it's not really going to go anywhere. So you might as well learn to adapt and learn to use it versus just not. It's like the people that are initially hesitant to use computers, things like that. Now, with any job, you're forced to use a computer. So I think it's going to be stuff of that nature, and I especially think it's affected a lot of industries like art, things like that. You can just make a great painting, a great image in 5 seconds with AI, when something like that would take an artist days or months in the past.
So I like that statement that you made, that it's a tool, so it's better to learn how to use it most effectively.
Yeah.
It's to enhance our life, not really to make it difficult.
Yeah.
Just like somebody had actually quoted this example, which was very sweet and interesting, that it's like calculators. The first time the calculators came out, people said, oh my God, our brains are going to get redundant and we'll stop using our brains for multiplication and division and all of that.
Yeah.
But you don't need to.
Yeah.
You can still use your brain for so many other things.
Yeah.
It just eases things out.
Makes it faster.
Makes it faster, yeah. You can get more things done, maybe different things done.
Yeah.
So, and pace of life, that's a whole other question. It has quickened the pace of life. Every technological advancement has quickened the pace of life.
Yeah.
Now, that could be a discussion, whether that's good or bad. But I also see it as a great tool.
Yeah.
It helps. And everything that we've done through life. I remember when I was doing radio, I did radio for 16 years, and podcasts had started happening. Yeah. And there was resistance then also. Oh, podcast will never be a radio frequency. Nothing can replace it. Guess what?
We're doing a podcast right now.
We're doing a podcast right now. I resisted too. I could have started this 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I was also hesitant because it was something new. It's the fear of unknown.
Yeah.
So for you, I think it's great that one, you explore yourself. You find these tools and opportunities online.
And dive into the unknown.
And dive it in, and discuss it with the parents. And parents are willing to explore with you.
Yeah.
So I think you're very lucky that way. That the parents are willing to explore with you and letting you test the waters.
Yeah.
And know that nothing is permanent in life. You don't like it, step out.
Yeah.
Go
it's
back.
better to try things.
You gotta try. Having tried and failed is better than not having tried at all.
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. It's been so good to talk to you, Devin. So many years. It feels like a long time, especially now that you've shot so much in height and you feel like a different person that I'm talking to. So before we close, is there anything you'd like to say to anybody young or old? I mean, do you have a message for people your generation or people your parents' generation or grandparents' generation?
I would say I have a message for people in my generation that you have to learn to talk to people and you have to learn to communicate properly. It's just, even with computers, even with AI, even with all these new things, the skill of communicating and the skill of public speaking, things like that, that's just never going to go away.
I didn't pay for that. There was nothing involved in that statement, but thank you. That was a very key statement because, with the advancements of technology, one thing that we can hold on to is humanity and humanness.
Yeah.
And just never lose that. Thank you, Devin. Pleasure seeing you again and pleasure talking to.
It's great to be here.
Always.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself and good luck with high school.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to OATS UNCUT, and we'll keep bringing you great stuff like this. Stay well, stay safe. Remember to love and to laugh and have a blast. Bye for now.